Hello there! Spider Dash here. If you're like me, you might be a big Spider-Man fan, and if you're even more like me, your favorite trilogy of all time is the Spider-Man trilogy directed by Sam Raimi. And how it wouldn't be your favorite trilogy of all time? These movies are so good that there isn't anything sinister happening behind them. Or is it? That's why we are going through a deep dive through the Raimi's Spider-Man Iceberg. But before starting the video, I have to give a huge thanks to Reddit user F-Zilla. He is the one who created the iceberg and helped me through the entries that I didn't understand. If you're watching this, thank you for making this possible. Now, let's start the video. Tier 1, the tip of the iceberg. Reddit Raimi Memes. Raimi Memes is a subreddit where people share memes about the Spider-Man trilogy directed by Sam Raimi. If you're a fan of these movies, you should consider joining. Spider-Man 3 deleted scenes. Spider-Man 3, as any other movie, has many deleted scenes. Topic that will be touching many times through the iceberg. Most notably, there's a deleted scene where Spider-Man tries to pull out Eddie Brock from the symbiote, just to reveal Eddie Brock's skeleton consumed by the symbiote. Websuit. In the Marvel's Spider-Man game made by Insomniac, they added a suit called Websuit that is none other than the Raimi suit. Lego sets. There are several Lego sets based on the Raimi trilogy, usually depicting the most iconic scenes in the movies. If you happen to want one of these Lego sets, be warned, it won't be cheap. Raimi villains in No Way Home. Up to this day, we know next to nothing of the upcoming Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Although, we know that Alfred Molina is set to return as Dr. Octopus, along with Jamie Foxx, who is coming back as Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man saga, Spider-Man 2.1 and Spider-Man 3 Editor's Cut. I think that it's well known that there is an extended version of Spider-Man 2 called Spider-Man 2.1 that you can buy individually. What not many people may know is that there is actually an extended version of Spider-Man 3, and that is because in order to have it, you need to buy the Spider-Man Origins collection. I just realized that now it's on Amazon Prime. You should definitely watch it, because it develops more the character of Sandman. Tie-in games. Every movie from the Raimi trilogy came with its respecting game. Some of them have exclusive content, depending on which console you play. For some reason, if you play the first game on Xbox, you can fight Kraven the Hunter. Bruce Campbell cameos. Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are close friends. Their friendship goes as far as the fact that they were born in the same hospital. Bruce Campbell starred the Sam Raimi movies Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. Naturally, he had cameos on the Spider-Man movies as the wrestler, announcer, the usher, and the receptionist. A.B. Arad. A.B. Arad is a famous producer of the Marvel movies, although he's known for pressuring directors to do what he wants instead of letting them do their jobs. It is known that he forced Sam Raimi to put Venom in the third Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be the fourth installment in the Raimi movies. Although it never released, it reached an advanced stage of early development. You can find some storyboards of what it was supposed to be. Spider-Man 4, fake teasers and trailers. It is widely known that if you search on YouTube for a trailer of Spider-Man 4, you will find a lot of fan-made trailers. Novelizations. Every movie of the Raimi trilogy has its respective novel. They are definitely good, and they add things that we weren't able to see in the movies. Bully Maguire. These are a series of memes depicting Tobey Maguire as the absolute chat that he is.
Pizza time.
Pizza time is the famous phrase said by Peter Parker when he delivers the pizza on the movie Spider-Man 2. That, along with the pizza team from the famous Spider-Man 2 video game, where you can actually deliver the pizzas, created one of the best memes of all time. Tier 2 Surface Level. James Franco wanted the Spider-Man role. Originally, James Franco auditioned to play the Spider-Man role. Although he was disappointed of not being Spider-Man, he wasn't reluctant about it. Unused Venom animatronic. Before getting the Venom that we all know, we were going to get a Venom animatronic. It looks better than what we ended up having, in my opinion. Individual names for Doc Ock's arms. Each Doc Ock's arm worked like puppets. Each puppeteer had a nickname. In order to make the work more nimble, organic webbing came from James Cameron's script. Before Sam Raimi, James Cameron was supposed to direct the Spider-Man movie. Among his drafts on the movie, it was the idea of Peter Parker having organic webbing. Sam Raimi liked the idea and kept it on his version of the film. Although, he did experimented with the idea of Peter Parker having web shooters. Earth 96283. In the comic books, each universe is called Earth plus one number. For example, the classic universe is called Earth 616. The Ultimate Universe is 1610. And Earth 96283 is the universe where the Raimi trilogy takes place. The new animated series is canon to the Raimi-verse. The new animated series was meant to connect the first and the second Spider-Man movie. Although due to certain decisions, this doesn't make much sense. Twin Towers trailer. There's a trailer for the first Spider-Man movie where the main feature are the Twin Towers. Although it is unknown if more material of the Twin Towers was supposed to be in the movie. I am pretty positive about it, because if you pause the movie in the perfect frame, you can still see them. Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Spider-Man Friend or Foe is a game released in 2007. It is supposed to be based on the Raimi movies, although it doesn't make much sense, and to be honest, it isn't that good. A strange name drop. In the Spider-Man 2 movie, Hoffman mentions Doctor Strange's name.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
Concept art. All of the three films have a lot of concept art, some of them depicting things that we never saw. Alex Ross suit. The Alex Ross suit was one of the concept arts made for the movie. It was supposed to be the main Spider-Man suit. Although it never made it into the movie, you can use that suit on the movie game. Mechanical web shooters. As I previously said, the mechanical web shooters were planned to appear in the movie and removed at some point. They even appear in one trailer. Spider-Site YouTube Poop series. These are a series of parodies, colloquially known as YouTube Poops, made by the user Spider-Site. They're good to say the least. I'll leave the link to his channel on the description. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Homecoming use Spider-Man 4 plot points. The Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming use villains that were supposed to appear in the fourth Spider-Man movie, the Lizard and Vulture. Alternate Green Goblin mask. Before the final product, they made some prototype masks for the Green Goblin. They used one of them on the test footage that actually looks better than the one that we ended up having. J. Jonah Spider-Man. In the extended version of Spider-Man 2, there's a scene where J. Jonah Jameson wears the Spider-Man suit. Joe's Pizza. Joe's Pizza is the place where Peter Parker works at the beginning on the second movie. This is a pizzeria that you can actually visit on real life. Tier 3, the bottom of the iceberg. David Cope's Spider-Man 2 and 3. David Cope was the writer of the first Spider-Man movie. His talks for the second Spider-Man movie were to get Peter and Gwen Stacy dating. He wanted Harry Osborn to become the Green Goblin, only to kill Gwen Stacy. Does that sound familiar to you? If that wasn't weird enough, he wanted the second movie to be called The Amazing Spider-Man. And the third movie was supposed to be called The Spectacular Spider-Man. Although David Cope never returned to Spider-Man 2. And it was Alvin Sergeant who did the screenplay. Punisher cameo in Spider-Man 2. Some people claim that you can see Punisher on the scene where Mary Jane is running from the wedding. I think that this is mostly to his resemblance to the actor, although to this day nothing is confirmed. Hugh Jackman Wolverine cameo. Hugh Jackman was supposed to have a small cameo on Spider-Man 2, but this never came to be because they lost Hugh Jackman's jacket. Mr. Ditkovich is Kraven the Hunter. It is said that at some point Mr. Ditkovich was supposed to be revealed as Kraven the Hunter. I think that this was going to be some sort of joke in Spider-Man 4. Bruce Campbell is Mysterio. Bruce Campbell was supposed to be revealed as Mysterio in the fourth Spider-Man movie. You can see this in the Spider-Man 4 storyboards. Black Cat and Lizard in Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi had plans of introducing Black Cat and the Lizard on Spider-Man 2. You can see this on the concept arts of the movie. Doc Ock in Spider-Man 1. Sony requested Sam Raimi to put Doc Ock on the first Spider-Man movie, along with the Green Goblin. Sam Raimi declined. He said that it was going to be too expensive. Green Goblin kills MJ. Sam Raimi had plans of killing MJ in the same way that Gwen Stacy dies in the comics. Obviously, this never happened. Doc Ock falls in love with MJ. In the first draft of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock was supposed to be way younger, and he was going to be in love with MJ. The main plot of the movie was supposed to be Peter Parker and Doc Ock competing for MJ's love. Other Marvel characters in the film novelizations. In the novels that I previously mentioned, other characters from the Marvel Universe make a small apparition, such as Captain America, Hulk, and Daredevil, the Vultures. Sony had plans of using Felicia Hardy, but not as Black Cat. Instead, they were going to use her as a female version of the villain, the Vulture. Spider-Man 3 Final Swing. There is footage of what could have been the final swing in Spider-Man 3, but this never happened because the film ended in a more melancholic way instead. Unfinished Spider-Man 4 game. Footage of the 4th Spider-Man game exists, and if you dig good enough, you can find a copy of the game that can be played on a Wii emulator. Tier 4, The Dark Waters. Gwen Stacy in Final Battle. Gwen Stacy was supposed to appear in the final battle of Spider-Man 3. Some people say that there is footage of her appearing in the final battle, but is yet to be found. Tobey Maguire test footage. After getting in shape, Tobey Maguire filmed a short scene about him defeating some criminals. Again, just to show the absolute chat that he is. I will leave a link to the scene in the description, in case that you wanna see it. Spider-Man suit prototypes. Along with the Alex Ross suit, there is this other suit that looks closer to the comics that almost made it into the movie. It appears in one trailer of the movie, Hobgoblin mask in Spider-Man 3. There is a small Easter egg in the scene where Harry becomes the new Goblin. You can see the Hobgoblin's mask, but it's really easy to miss it, unless you pause the scene and notice that the mask is yellow. Humanoid Venom design. There is a Venom design with human-like teeth. In fact, you can watch this suit on a deleted scene of the movie. Dr. Connor's leftover symbiote. We don't know what happened to Dr. Connor's leftover symbiote. Although many people think that this could lead to Carnage, it seems unlikely because the villain of the fourth movie was supposed to be Vulture. So we may never know what happened to the leftover symbiote. The Doctor from Spider-Man 2 knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. This is not much a fact, as it is something that you can know intuitively. Just imagine that one person comes in, tells you that he's Spider-Man in his dream, and he's losing his powers. Then you tell him to stop being Spider-Man, and suddenly, Spider-Man disappears from the city. I mean, he knows. Kraven and Chameleon in Spider-Man 3. Since Kraven and Chameleon are brothers in the comics, Sam Raimi had plans of them of being the main villains of Spider-Man 3, Namor in Spider-Man 2. You know the guy who sells the Spider-Man suit to J. Jonah Jameson? Well, in the novelization of the movie, he's revealed to be none other than Namor the Submariner. Tie-in comics. There are comics depicting the events of the Raimi trilogy. There are fun collectibles. Spider-Man 3 The Black. Spider-Man 3 The Black is a comic that narrates the events of Spider-Man 3 from Eddie Brock's perspective. Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi in Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is a series of Spider-Man comic books. In one particular issue, they're filming a movie not about Spider-Man, but Arachnoman, and it was starred by none other than Tobey Maguire and directed by Sam Raimi. Tier 5. The Abyss. Tobey Maguire was almost replaced. You know this scene?
My back!
Well, this is an inside joke. Tobey Maguire wanted a raise, but Sony refused to give him one. After this, Tobey Maguire got reluctant and refused to keep playing the role of Spider-Man, saying that he had a back pain. Tobey Maguire was almost replaced with the actor Jake Gyllenhaal, who years later would play the role of Mysterio in Spider-Man Far From Home. Although nothing of this ever happened, the joke of Tobey Maguire's back pain stayed in the movie. Spider-Man 3 2006 Comic-Con trailer. There is a trailer for the 2006 Comic-Con, depicting the movie of Spider-Man 3 as something much more darker than it ended up being, and with some scenes that didn't make it to the final movie. I'll leave a link in the description in case that you wanna see it. Female Green Goblin. There's a concept art of the Green Goblin depicted not as a man but as a woman. There's nothing much else to it. The Alex Ross suit was used in the test footage. You can see something that resembles the Alex Ross suit in the teaser trailer of the first Spider-Man movie. Lost promotional artwork. Recently, people discovered promotional artwork never seen for the first Spider-Man movie, leading people to believe that we still have a lot of promotional material that is currently lost. 4. Twitter incident. Marvel posted this picture of a 4, which led many people to believe that this was related to the fourth installment of the Raimi's Spider-Man, but it all turned out to be just a countdown to reveal a Spider-Man comic book that isn't even that good. Lucas Ellis, Spider-Man 4 soundtrack. Lucas Ellis is a music composer who imagined how the soundtrack of Spider-Man 4 could have sound, and then made it a reality. His fan-made version of the Spider-Man 4 soundtrack is really good. I'll leave a link in the description. Venom's skull. There are pictures of this Venom skull that was supposed to appear as part of Eddie Brock's dead body. A Spider-Man game. Josh Keaton audio. Josh Keaton voices Spider-Man in the spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. He was supposed to make the voice of Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man movie video game. But none of this ever happened, because the one who ended up voicing Spider-Man in the movie video game is none other than Tobey Maguire. There are audios of how Josh Keaton's Spider-Man could have sound. I'll leave them in the description. Reference in Iron Man, deleted scene. In the first Iron Man movie, there was supposed to be a reference of how Tony Stark helped Dr. Octavius to build his arms, but none of this happened due to license issues. Raimi birthed Iron Man. The Spider-Man 3 movie game was supposed to have appearances of other Marvel heroes, among them Iron Man, which has a concept art, and Carnage. Before the Spider-Man 3 release, the site IMDb listed Rosemary Harris as Carnage instead of Aunt May, which led many people to believe that at some point in the movie, Aunt May was going to become Carnage. But obviously this was a mistake, and there is not much else to it. Or is it? Tier 6 Purgatory. Spider-Man Turn of the Dark. Spider-Man Turn of the Dark was a Broadway musical revolving around the events of the Raimi trilogy, although it was a complete failure. Randy Savage's injury. You remember this dude? Well, he had a really bad neck injury when he was thrown by Chad Maguire. Same universe as other pre-MCU Marvel films. This is just a way of remembering this precious movie era. Fan edits 2002, 2009, and Spider-Man 2.2. Different people have edited the Spider-Man movies to make them feel different. Among them, there is Spider-Man 2.2. That makes Spider-Man 2 feel like a completely different movie. If you want to see it, I'll leave a link in the description. Raimi music in Sonic 06. Of all the entries in the Iceberg, this is the one that shocked me the most. Listen to the trailer of Sonic 06.
A pleasure to meet you at last, Princess of Soleil.
Doesn't that just sound like...
A pleasure to meet you at last, Princess of Soleil.
Tier 7 Hell. Every copy of Spider-Man 2 is personalized. Yes, every copy of Spider-Man 2 is personalized, the same way that every copy of Super Mario 64 is. Does whatever a spider does, creepypasta. This is a short horror story of a thief who gets caught by Spider-Man, and then he sees how Spider-Man webs him and crawls towards him. I'll leave a link in the description. The Alfred Molina apparition. Same universe as Donner Superman. Remember this line of the first Spider-Man movie?
With me, you're not Superman, you know.
Some people think that this implies that Christopher Reeve's Superman exists in the same universe than Raimi's Spider-Man. Not as a fictional character, but as another hero. Third Raimi trilogy. Sam Raimi wouldn't have just signed a contract to direct Spider-Man 4, but another trilogy. December 13, 2000. CGI test. Do not research. This is a CGI test that is more funny than scary. I'll leave a link in the description in case that you wanna see it. Ghost sighting in Spider-Man 3. Remember the scene where Peter and MJ break up? Many people believe that in this scene you can see a ghost. Maybe it is a ghost, or maybe it is something completely different. Well, you stayed until the end. Thank you for watching this video. I had to do tons of work while working on this video, but it also was fun. If you enjoyed, give me a like and click the subscribe button. I'm Spider Dash, and I'll be seeing you later. drive that funky soul.
You don't know